I've been really, really fortunate to, for lack of a better term, falling into this industry. And what I found is in my travels, and I travel all over the country, meeting with facilities, teams, about what they're running into and some of the challenges that they face. And I'm going to share a lot of that information. But more importantly, it's what I hear directly from your peers. I meet with K through 12, higher ed, manufacturing. I've met with, I can't tell you how many hospitals around the country. And I also am involved with a lot of the trade organizations, IFMA, ASHE. I'm on the education committee for IFMA World Workplace. So I'm really trying to keep my finger on the pulse of what's going on in the industry. And a lot of what I'm going to share is what people are doing today. And it's also what they're doing moving forward. In particular, AI, okay? Also what they're doing with new technologies out there. So, part of the challenge that I've seen around the country is, this is kind of a backstory on me. I grew up in Oregon, moved to Florida, moved back to Oregon, moved back here, got into facilities. But I come from a publishing background. I'm outside of our industry, okay? But I've been in the industry now for going on, almost 15 years now. And I've had thousands of meetings with facilities folks. And part of the challenge that I've seen over time too is, and how I really started in the industry was in graphics, okay? Doing large format graphics for organizations, all the signage and all that stuff. But as I was walking around the different facilities, and it was always meetings with the facilities directors, folks in the background who always say facilities behind the curtain, okay? But this is what I saw, okay? I mean, put your picture here of your site, but it was just piles and piles of stuff, piles of drawings, piles of closeout packages, just all kinds of stuff. But what I also started seeing is every guy on the team was walking around with a smartphone. And I'm trying to make a connection there. And what we were doing was understanding what was going on in the industry. And again, these are some of the photos from on site. I got thousands of photos of facilities guys walking around trying to figure out what they're doing. But also I started presenting at different conferences. And then we launched the podcast, as he mentioned. Okay, we've done about 100 episodes now. This is your peers telling their story and sharing best practices, what they're doing, what's working, what's not working. I just did a webinar yesterday on selling to leadership. All of the stories in that webinar were from you guys, from your peers, okay? And what they're doing to really sell their ideas, sell their concepts, but more importantly, get leadership to say yes, okay? And building that relationship. But again, it's peers from nationwide. I've interviewed people from healthcare. I've interviewed people from, I think about half of them are higher ed, okay? But they're sharing their stories about what's working for them. But also IFMA is getting really involved with this too. I'm working with them on a bunch of different sessions. I also present at APPA too on different things that are going on in the industry. But what I'm gonna really start off with is think about technology just in your personal life, okay, as it's evolved over time. So we went from that. My dad, 35 years for the phone company. I think he's still got that phone, okay? But I show that phone to my daughter. She has no idea what that thing is, let alone what's this mean, okay? But it evolved to touch tone. It evolved to that brick. How many people in the room had that? Right. You just dated yourselves. Just saying. Yeah. My dad had that. I had a variation of that, but I think I got his. But again, that was your first phone, okay? Digital remote cell phone, okay? And then there was this, pagers. Who had a pager? Right. More hands went up. If you notice, that's the evolution of just our personal lives, okay? Who had a BlackBerry? Exactly, even more, okay? Who's got a smartphone? Put your hand down. Everybody's got a smartphone. That's the point, okay? But I got news for you. So does everyone on your team. And we're gonna talk about how that's impacted facilities and how that can impact facilities too. But there's also this, how are we accessing even things like TV, all right? We go from that to I can stream on my phone to I've got 1,000 apps on my smart TV too, okay? But why can't we do the same with all of our building information, right? So this is how we're consuming information too. Think about real time, speed in the field. These are just some of the ways that people are consuming information today. Well, your team's doing the same thing, right? And they're doing it just as much as you are, right? The team is accessing stuff to do their job. I jokingly heard this the other day. Guy said, I'm the best YouTube mechanic there is. You want to know how to fix something? Go to YouTube. There's 1,000 videos on how to do it, right? But also think about how it's impacted you on travel. I don't know if anybody just flew in or drove in. Everybody should be from here, I would assume. But I travel every week, and now you've got the facial recognition. I don't even have to show my ID in some case, or I don't have to show my boarding pass, I should say. They literally scan it, look at this, you're going through. That fast. That wasn't around a few years ago. That's almost every airport now. That's how fast technology's changed in our personal life too. Even during COVID, I would go into schools or I would even go into hospitals and they were doing the temperature reading by a camera that was up on a tripod up in the air. And they could tell if you were hot, then you got shuffled into this other room, okay? I travel all the time, every week, okay? And the challenge is everybody is just, technology is impacting every part of our lives, whether you're home, whether you're traveling, whether you're in business. Everybody's on the move. But here's the other thing. With technology, also with things that happen in our life, think about COVID. How did your lives change? I was living in Oregon when COVID hit, all right? I moved to Florida, didn't even step foot in my house before I bought it. I live in Longwood, okay? Everything was done virtually. Well, think about your day to day. We went from this, everybody sitting around a table, everybody meeting, oh, I'm double booked in this room, to that, okay? That may or may not be a beer on the other side of that laptop, okay? But that's the thing. That's how fast technology changed. My daughter went from, she was in middle school when we left. She went from virtual or from in-person to no one even knew how to use Zoom in the school to we moved to Florida and everything's virtual for a year, okay? And then now my wife, who works from home, has never stepped foot into a physical office. Her entire time she's been here, 5 years now, she's never stepped foot in an office, not once. That's crazy, okay? You wouldn't have thought that a few years ago, but that's how fast people are realizing, wait a minute, I can work from home? This is awesome. Now, a lot of folks are pulling people back, but in higher ed and K through 12, it's still in person in most cases. You've got some virtual, don't get me wrong, and a lot of schools are doing 50-50 in some cases I've heard. But again, the way that we consume information, the way that we can even educate has changed, right? So this is, I love this, okay? Who remembers this video? Okay, live international TV, okay? His daughter walks in. Then there's the baby in the stroller, okay? And then wait just a second, wait for it. Here's mom, okay? He's on BBC Live, okay? Yeah. That's live TV, okay? I can't tell. When Zoom finally came out with it, I could blur my background. It was the best thing ever, okay? Because I'm mindful of what the heck is behind me. Who just walked by? Did the dog bark? Whatever. But that's where we've come, okay? That's international news. They don't have a video team going to this guy's house. That's live, okay? That's how fast it changed. But the speed of change in facilities has really sped up too. So think about how fast you've pulled forward. How many people in the audience here are using smartphones and iPads for your facilities team in the field? Right. That number wasn't there 5 years ago, okay? Everybody was still walking around with paper plans. They were walking around trying to figure out where stuff was. But oftentimes what it came down to is what's in that guy's head. But even coming out of COVID, and what COVID also taught us is we're relying on a lot of the guys that just know where stuff is, okay? The guy that's been on the team for 40 years, the guy that's been on the team for 25 years. Well, we're losing people that have been on the team for 10 years too. They're just getting another job up the road that's $5 more an hour. So I'll share a little bit of that information too, but part of the challenge is facilities is changing too. It's not just the day-to-day stuff in our personal lives, okay? But facilities is really undergoing just this really profound change right now, right? The folks who knew where everything was or is left. They retired, okay? We called it the silver tsunami. It's the guys the guys that knew where everything was, and they earned their time. They retired after 35, 40, whatever years, they left, okay? The problem is all that institutional knowledge walked with them, okay? And I can't tell you how many guys I've spoke with afterwards. We did a whole series of articles on people who had retired and sharing their knowledge back with the industry. And I think there were 3 of the 10 that we interviewed. 3 of them said they had to change their phone number because the guys at the office wouldn't stop calling. They knew where everything was, right? The other challenge is, just like personal technology, as you've changed, so is the facility stuff, and this is what that means. The guy on the left, I took these photos. The guy on the left there, right? I was in a meeting with him, and we were talking about how they're accessing stuff, okay? And this is in California, and the guy on the right's from Salt Lake City. The guy on the left had been there for 42 years. And I said, well, show me your most recent electrical drawings for the building we're in, okay? Oh, I could do that, no problem. Sits down at the computer, forgot my password, okay? I do that all the time still, but forgot his password, went into the folder that he thought it was there, and somebody accidentally deleted it, okay? He's the guy. So what they did is they had to go back and get original permit sets because all the stuff that they had scanned in to put in that folder got trashed. It happens, right? The guy on the right, though, he has every single building drawing, every single mechanical thing in his building, all of his shutoffs, and he accesses it from an iPad. That's how fast, that's the variation. I've seen both still today. I mean, I've seen both. And I'm not knocking the guy on the left. That's not what I mean here. It could be, financial. It could be any number of reasons why they're still doing that. But he looks at that, and he told me this, job security. I know where it is. They come to me, job security. Okay? It's a challenge. Okay, but old buildings also means old stuff, right? 65% of buildings, and these are industry stats, 65% of buildings still have a plan room. 1 in 3 buildings over 50 years old, 70% are over 20. A lot of old stuff, right? But it's not just drawings and stuff like that. It's old equipment, right? If I do a retrofit or I do a renovation on a floor of a building, well, okay, it's a 6-story building. I still have 5 floors that are old and have old stuff. It's connecting all those dots, right? And the challenge is that a lot of folks have that. They paper, or they've got stuff scanned, it's dumped on a shared drive, and nobody can find it. Okay, I look at it this way. If it's the stuff on the right and I can't find it, I might as well go back to paper, right? Doesn't matter, still can't find it, still wasting time, but more importantly, you have to go back to an office and sit at a computer and try and find that. It's not pointing fingers at anybody, it's just that's reality in facilities. But again, it's speeding up with technology ways that you can do stuff. And I'll share what some of that can look like. But this is the problem. That guy wants to slam his head on his desk half the day because he can't find stuff to do his job, right? Could be electrical drawings, could be where's a piece of mechanical equipment. The guy who knows where that stuff is just went on vacation. I was talking to a guy the other day when I was down in Texas, and this is last week. And he says, I'm the guy that knows where everything is, but I'm also the guy that knows when I take my family on vacation, I go to the same spot every year. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. You must love the spot. He goes, no, we have a cabin and we go up in the mountains in Texas and we go around one corner and I know that's when our cell phones stop working. No one can call me. Think about that. He intentionally does that because when he's on vacation, he's not on vacation. But more importantly, he said, when I get back around that corner coming home, my phone blows up. Doesn't matter if I tell them I'm going to be gone for a week or 2 weeks. I've got 50 voicemails. I've got texts from everybody. And they all know he's gone. Hey, when you get back, hey, I know you're on vacation, but I know that, come on, okay? But what that means to me and what it meant to him and what it meant to their organization, single point of failure. One guy knows where everything is. One guy gets hit by a truck tomorrow or wins the lottery tomorrow. He's not coming to work, okay? Single points of failure. So we'll look at that. So this is the other challenge is I call this the search. I see this all the time. I look at a ceiling grid, there's a blue dot on the ceiling, right? And I don't know what that blue dot is. I don't know what that red dot is or that yellow dot. Gas, water, hot, cold. I make assumptions, but what tile do I pop? How many of them do I have to pop to get access to it? There's 4, okay? There's a dot there. Which one do I pop to even see which one it is that I need to access it? I pop ceiling tiles all the time when we map out equipment for clients. And I guarantee you, I don't even have a 50-50 shot at picking the right tile. I pop a tile and I'm underneath the pan. Or I pop a tile over here. I can't go to that one because there's a smoke detector or there's a strobe. There's ways that people are doing that to capture that. And I'll show you what that can look like too. But also easy access. That's me on that ladder. A ladder to get on a table, to get on, to climb up there and do the same thing. Popping this stuff. Nope, not that one. Got to move the ladder over. I'm standing on a lab table. This is a college, right? If I had to do that, think about your team. They have to do the same thing to fix that unit, to service that unit. They have PMs on that unit. I can't even find the unit. I'm looking for it. So I pop the ceiling grid and I'm looking like this, just like they are with my flashlight. Documenting where that stuff is. If they do that monthly, quarterly, how much time will that save them if they know it's that tile to pop? It's documenting that kind of stuff. And that's what technology can do. Or there's this. Which tile is it? I asked the guy, this was in Florida, not gonna point any fingers. Which tile do you pop? Just look for the stains in the ceiling grid. What? But again, still, that's what a lot of folks are doing. And again, this is worst case, but there's also this, okay? Look how tidy, that's a library. He has to put that through a gap and there was literally 1.5 inches on each side to pop that tile, okay? More importantly, right? He lucked out because he had, again, a 1 in 3 shot there of grabbing the right tile to get access to that. And then he has to document. The challenge is his lift won't go up high enough, so when he goes in there to fix that thing, he actually has to put a ladder on the lift to get up higher. That's a day in the life, right? But that's how fast it's changed. Teams are out in the field walking around with stuff. They're accessing all the information to do their job, right from their phone, right from the tablet. Guy on the left is the facilities director at College of Sequoias in California. He's got 3 campuses, Hanford, Tulare, and Visalia, right? He can pull up any of his campuses and on his phone in the middle of the night and see everything for his buildings, all of it. Something goes sideways, security's standing there, police are standing there. He's doing that because he's got his security program, he's got his CMMS, and he's got other programs to access everything from his building, right from, remember I said, raise your hand if you got a smartphone? That's where he's getting it all, right? It's a big deal. Helps him to be able to respond faster. I always say this, okay, when it comes to emergencies or things that are going sideways, especially with water, I always say water finds a way. Water finds a way into anything. Water finds a way to ruin a lot of days, okay? But the challenge is water is like a gas pump. The longer it runs, more money it costs you. So knowing where that stuff is and being able to access it, it's a big deal. This is the statement I hate more than anything in the world. This is the way we've always done it, okay? I hear this often, okay? And it's just the way it is in some cases. The challenge is that doesn't mean it's right. That means you're stuck in your feet are in concrete and you're stuck in your way. No, there's better ways to do things, okay? And what that looks like here is, I'll give you an example, okay? This is the way we've always done things. There's how many units on that roof? That's only part of the roof, right? It's huge, okay? This is one of the research buildings at a college campus. That guy went up and down that ladder. I was up there documenting some equipment. He was doing PMs on some of the equipment. I counted. He went up and down that ladder 5 times in 10 minutes because he couldn't even figure out what was here, what do I need, what parts do I need, anything. He may have to go up a couple of times, but he didn't even know the serial number, didn't know model number, didn't know any of that stuff. He didn't have the ability to find that stuff. So what did he have to do? Go all the way, jump in his golf cart, go all the way back to the campus, all the way to the other side and try and find stuff. There are other campuses. University of Tulsa is a great example. They're incorporating, and I don't know if you, and I'll show it in a minute, they've got actual little robots all over their campus. They started out doing food delivery. So they have Starbucks, they have the cafeteria on campus. So you're a student, you log in, you can order your food from the cafeteria. They come out and they've got these little white robots and it's got a big flag on it. It will drive it to your dorm. It'll drive it to the building you're in. You put in the code, it opens up the little door, you grab your stuff, you go on. They're now doing that for facilities parts. Guy's on a roof, he can order the stuff. The order goes directly to the parts house that's in there, or he can even order stuff on Grainger. He can order it right from the roof, from his phone, and if they have it in stock, they put it in the robot, it drives it right to the building. He doesn't even have to come off the roof until it's there. That's how fast technology's impacting them. That's a big deal, because before he had to jump in the truck, go clear across campus, go see if they had it, and then he would say, okay, crap, I don't have it, so I'm going to run up to Home Depot or I'm going to order it from Grainger or whatever. Then I'm down a day, I'm down an hour, whatever the case may be. Now he knows if they got it instantly, and if they've got it, it's going to take 10 minutes and it's going to be there at the building. He doesn't have to run back and forth. What does that mean? Time. You guys never have enough time. That stuff gives your team time back. They don't have to climb up and down that ladder multiple times. They don't have to go grab parts. They can see all that stuff. That's technology. That's how fast our industry's changed. This guy here, another example, okay, of how to document stuff. He's been with this is Moore Park College in California. He's actually the wrestling coach there too. He's about this tall, okay? He's awesome, but he's one guy trying to remember in his head where everything is on their campus. So what filters do I need? He goes down into this room, grabs the filters, climbs up that ladder with one hand, putting it up there. He actually, you can see he's kind of balanced it on that top rung there, gets up there, and someone changed the lock. He didn't even have the key. Leaves that stuff up. See, time, communication. Now they're mapping out all the locks. They know what lock it is. If they change it, they hit the change, they hit save. Everybody on the team now sees that. So as things change in your building, being able to document stuff quickly in the field, live, while you're standing at the unit, that's what you can do with some of the technologies that are out there right now. And you may have stuff that does some of this stuff. I don't know. But there's a better way. So how this is helping is with a lot of predictive stuff. So you're going to see, you're using, I'm assuming most of you are using some new sensors and things like that within your facilities, track energy, track consumption. It's also going to help you even capture leaks in a building, understand if there's leaks going on in the building, but that's going to help you kind of get ahead of some of that stuff before it goes sideways. Also, it's going to really help with optimization. It's going to not only give you that heads up, but it's going to help you with some routine tasks. And I'll show you what that can look like here in a minute. But it's going to help you make some intelligent decisions, making recommendations on things that are coming up, okay? It's also gonna help you integrate with other things. Let me ask this, okay? Who in the room's used ChatGPT? Right. Keep your hand up if you could have used that 5 years ago. Right. 10 years ago. Exactly. Technology, right? Everybody's using ChatGPT now. But even AI, if you log into LinkedIn or you log into other systems, even Facebook, I think, and some of the Instagram, they've got AI components now. There's a real reason why when you say something, when you're talking to your spouse or your significant other or your kids, and all of a sudden you log into Amazon and, oh, I was just talking about that. Yeah, okay. It's hearing, okay. But AI in facilities is gonna be able to help you with suggestions on other stuff, and I'll show you what that can look like. But it's gonna help you make some of those data-driven decisions. It's gonna help you make smarter decisions based off trends. It's gonna be able to track some of that stuff and see what the heck is going on in your buildings, but also how many times am I going and working on this unit? You know, what are my spends on that unit? And it's gonna help you to realize quickly in a snapshot what that means to your org. Okay, these are some of the other things that a lot of folks are doing. Again, it's IoT, some artificial intelligence with machine learning and things like that, building automation, of course, BIM. Okay, a lot of folks are using BIM models, especially on new construction. Artificial reality, and that's your VR. Okay, I've seen a lot of folks that are doing, especially for new construction, where they're doing full walkthroughs with VR. All right, and then you've also got drones. Okay. I shoot a lot of videos with organizations, and drones are all over the place, all right? Most schools that I talk to have a drone of some sort, so they can do some aerials, and I'll show you what that can look like as well. But what it really comes down to is technology is gonna help you to be able to share stuff across all the different departments, okay? Share information, information's king, okay? But it's right now, in most cases, it's siloed. You know, this department's got their stuff, that department's got that stuff. Well, they may need stuff that you need, or he needs, or she needs. Sharing that information, so I'm a firm believer everybody's on the same page if they're all looking at the same stuff, okay? That's what technology can do for you. So here's the other challenge with especially certain generations within facilities maintenance teams is it's gonna take my job, right? It's not Terminator. Okay, it's not gonna go up on that roof. It's not going to swap out that belt. It's not gonna do the filters. It's not gonna go into that room and fix the thing. It's just gonna give you a heads up something's going sideways. It's gonna recognize when things aren't working right. Okay, not in all cases, but in most cases too. Like I said this the other day to a guy, we were walking through and he was like, you know, we were just talking about AI. And he was like, I'm just so afraid it's gonna take my job. And that's kind of the mentality of my team. And we were walking by and I heard this AHU just making a racket. I said, AI is not gonna tell you that's making a racket. What it's gonna tell you is the energy consumption may be going down with sensors and other things like that. It's not gonna hear that, okay? You're gonna hear that. And you're gonna know what you gotta fix when you jump into that thing. But again, what it really comes down to is it's not gonna take the job, but also the guys, I don't even care if it's the oldest guy in your team, he's got a smartphone in most cases, okay? My dad and my mom are better on their smartphone than I am, and I use it every day, okay? They're both retired. They have nothing else to do, okay? But they're just constantly sending me stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, give me a break. But they know what the heck they're doing. And the thing is, everybody wants the holy grail, I call it. All technologies that do everything in one spot doesn't exist. I call it the magic bullet. Everybody wants it, doesn't exist. But when you're looking at technologies you guys are using today, your work order system, maybe a BAS, any of the different systems you're doing today, ask the question to your vendors, and I don't know the answer to it. Ask the question to your vendors, what's on your roadmap? How is AI gonna get implemented into your system? Some, they have a really robust plan, which is awesome, okay? But also, how are they gonna communicate with other stuff? You know, AI pings the web, and just like I said with ChatGPT, you want stats on something? Search for a stat in ChatGPT. You'll have 1,000 different variations of the same thing. Are they all right? I don't know. But it's going to give them to you. Where else are you going to find that? Are you going to do all those searches and go to all those websites and try and find that stuff? It did it in 5 seconds and found all that information. Think about how that will help you to be able to react and make those proactive decisions on things that are going sideways in the building that fast. That's what it'll start to do. But it's also going to help you with some of the predictive things. So to go from reactive to proactive, it's going to give you a heads up and start to see some of those trends. The other thing it's going to do is the benefits of that is going to help reduce some of the potential downtimes. Equipment doesn't always break at 8 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. It breaks at midnight, right? So, but it's going to start to give you a heads up when something's going sideways, okay? Here's another example.
The equipment we work with here is older, and a lot of times the model tag is worn. You can't read it, faded. So I do use my smartphone when I'm ordering parts to get that model number, because without it, you can't get parts, you can't get really anything. I've had an instance where I couldn't scan it. It's a critical piece of equipment. I'm looking for model numbers so I can get this back up and running, and I couldn't find it. So I finally reached to my QR reader, pulled up the ARC, and all the information's there. It's beautiful. You don't gotta guess. It's not faded. It's not worn. There's no guessing if it's a 0 or a C, because you can't tell. I mean, all the model numbers there, serial, everything's good.
This guy he's awesome, okay? He's that guy who goes out in the field. He's their only HVAC tech. He's got 50 buildings. He's got a prison that this is a county. And he can find anything before he even goes out there, okay? Before he jumps in the car, he knows what is it, where is it, and what do I need in most cases. Now, again, there's some of that stuff he's got to figure out. They're also doing the implementation shortly with the robots too. And this is at a county. That's a big deal, okay? Autonomous vehicles. But here's what that means. So predictive maintenance helps you with recover revenue potentially, smart replacement, all these different things associated with potential predictive maintenance is a benefit. And a lot of this comes from some of those trends that you'll see with AI and different things like that. But here's the other challenge, okay? This is a school in California, okay? And this unit catches on fire. It's on a weekend, okay? They call the fire department, rolls up. They call the 800 number for the emergency call. Woman who rolls up is their brand new HVAC tech. She'd only been on the job for a couple of weeks, right? He says, we need to know how to kill the power to this thing so we can put this thing out. Pulls it up on her phone, says, it's right here. Matter of fact, here's a picture of it. It's the second breaker on the right. Room's filled with smoke. She opens the door. They go in, kill it, put out the fire. Fire department says, how the heck did you do that? She goes, I got all my schools right here. I got every building right here. He said, we never had this. My dad was a retired first responder, 50 years as a firefighter. He goes, when I go through that door, I don't know what's on the other side of that door. Okay? She did. And shared it with the guy while he was standing there. Okay? Imagine if she couldn't. They're just going to start ripping stuff up, trying to kill power at the main. They're going to do everything they can to get that thing out. But she got there quickly, and they were able to do that, minimize damage. Okay? But if that were water, same thing. Where is it? What is it? What does it serve? Okay? So elevating your teams with technology means it can help with remote monitoring, streamlining maintenance tasks, being able to group tasks. So if you're going to work on this, it can start to give you a heads up. Hey, you know what? There's 5 other units that are coming up on their PMs. Why don't you do those while you're there? Okay? That's the type of stuff that it's just going to grab. And again, it's not relying on somebody's memory. Also help you make those data-driven insights. Give you a heads up when something's going sideways. AI-powered assistance. And I'll show you what that can look like here in a second. But again, it goes from the desk to the field. They're not tied to a chair. They're tied to what's in their pocket, okay? But again, how it's gonna help is with some of that potential preventative stuff, giving you a heads up when something's going sideways and help you with some of those, I call them wins, right? Everybody's looking for wins in facilities, right? Reducing downtime, that's a big one. Cost savings, potential cost savings. Improving efficiency. My team can get more done in their day, right? Who's fully staffed 100% on all your facilities teams? Right. I didn't expect nobody to raise their hand, but that's what I hear around the country. They're down 10, 20, 30% headcount, right? Trying to get more out of your team every day. This type of stuff will help with that. It gives them more time to do stuff and streamlines your team, okay? It also can help with energy savings potentially with some of these different things that are attached to AI and also sensor technology. Reducing maintenance costs could be as much as 20%. These are some industry stats. Occupant satisfaction increases by 15%. And global market, that's a big one right there. That's how fast, how much organizations are investing in technologies, especially in products and services that you buy today. All right. But again, going from that is all the as-built for a building, all mapped out, and they can access it on their phone. Okay. Same thing with shutoffs. Same things with mechanical equipment, all mapped out. Everybody can access it in the field. Okay. But this is what AI can start to do too. Okay. Maybe it's going to make some suggestions before you go out there. What belt do I need to grab? What filter do I need to grab? Before you even go up there, you're going to fix something, but while you're there, hey, grab this stuff, go up there. It's going to save time. Remember that back and forth, right? But here's some other things too that I just did this in a presentation yesterday. Heat maps. AI is going to help you to start potentially building heat maps through systems that you might have, right? Heat maps are, if this unit goes down, it's going to impact this part of the building. But submitting that with budgets, and I'll show you what that looks like, and a real example where somebody did this, is going to help you get to more yeses when you go to leadership and say, I need this, or I need a budget for this. And this is what that can look like, okay? So educating leadership on what happens if this unit goes down, right? See that little dot up in the upper left of that clouded area? That's an air handler. What he did when he submitted his budget, instead of just sliding a spreadsheet across the table and saying, here's what I need to order, he supplies this. It's not 200 grand, it's 200 grand, but if it goes down, these 4 ORs are down. PACU's down, NICU's down, ICU's down, all these different departments are down. He doesn't even have to tell them how much money they lose. This is a hospital example, but how much money they will lose or even inconvenience in schools, displacing students, displacing staff. That's what that means. It's always even better if it's their office, okay? I've seen this over and over again. But in this example here, think about if you have a lab in your facility, you're doing research. If you lose your air conditioning, what does that mean? If you lose water to that part of the building, what does that mean? All right, and quantify that. In this case, I think it was $8,000 a minute is what they lose. Do that math. But it's not just the lost revenue, and in healthcare, a lot of times they call it butts and beds. That's morbid, but that's really what it is. They are able to charge and bill for people being in a bed, right? Well, also, it's the inconvenience. If they can't and they have to reschedule that surgery, what does that mean? That means that patient now has to go get new tests, do blood work, all the stuff associated leading up to that. Reschedule. How'd they even get there? Did they have a ride? Did they have to make arrangements? Think about that. It's the impact. And what does that mean to your team? Okay, this is a true story here, right? This is a hospital in Los Angeles, right? Third shift, guy's been on the job for 4 days. That guy doesn't know where everything is. It's impossible. But he gets the call from the charge nurse and says, we lost power in the OR. All he asked her was, what's the panel number on that outlet? He puts it in his phone, searches, and shows that one outlet on a floor plan exactly where it is, walks right there. They were back up in 5 minutes. That's AI. That's technology. Think about what I just said earlier. If he couldn't do that, they would have canceled the first 2 surgeries. They were back to back. First one is, 5 in the morning or whatever, right? Again, time time is not our friend in facilities, right? Okay, but what this also, those visuals help get 70% better understanding of what that means if something goes down. But heat maps are 40% more likely to be funded. Think about that. If you're a vendor in this room, okay, partner with the organizations to help them sell to their leadership, okay? Facilities directors are not salespeople. You've done 1,000 presentations on product services, what that means, ROI, all of that stuff. Go to bat for them, help them out, partner with them. Then you're showing that you're forward thinking too, and you're gonna get more of that yes. But also this is the heat map that's coming in. If you submit this and this is what that means, if this goes down, I'm a visual person, okay? If I just look at a number in a spreadsheet, it's a heck of a lot easier for me to say no than say, holy crap. If that goes down, it means this. Yes, signs off, okay? But anyway, real-time visuals helps improve response and planning accuracy as well. So how is it evolving? Okay, this is some of the new technologies that I'm seeing out there too, okay? Who's using this stuff? Just for reference, there's a company in Jacksonville that manufactures and patented this. That's awesome. Okay, they're cleaning windows, they're cleaning roofs, that is awesome, okay? I see this at different sites. I've seen this on high-rises down in Miami. I was down at the University of Miami, and we were working at one of their buildings. I looked across, there was another company completely unrelated that was cleaning windows on a high-rise. No more scaffolding going down the side of the building. That's how they're doing it, okay? This right here, I thought was interesting. This is 20 minutes ago on the show floor. That's a floor cleaning robot. 20 minutes ago. You ever seen that? That's at a facilities maintenance show, showing you that. I see these at virtually every show now. I see drones at shows now, all over the place. I couldn't have said that. I've been at IFMA World Workplace for over 10 years. That's only in the last few years. That's how fast technology is changing, okay? Again, the unit that you see in the upper right-hand corner, that's University of Tulsa. The vehicles I was talking about, those are all over campus. I see them everywhere, right? The one in the bottom right there, that's from Arizona. I believe that's the one from Arizona. That actually patrols campuses. I think there are 15 cameras on that thing, and they have complete view of everything that's going on the campus. And they especially run these at night so they can keep an eye on what's going on. All right, and then of course the floor cleaning robots too. There's also this. This is University of Tulsa too. They implemented this just a few years ago. They actually have a new version of this. I took that video. These things are all over the place, right? It's not meant to eliminate grounds. That's not what it's meant to do. They were outsourcing all this stuff, outsourcing all their grounds. Not anymore. They have a small crew that does all the other stuff that this doesn't do. Okay, then there's this, drones, okay? This is one of the drones that we were actually flying on site at up in Seattle. And, oh, I'm sorry, no, this is in Florida. This is actually in Tampa. But they didn't have any visuals of the their entire hospital up on the roof or anything. So they mapped out all that stuff with using this kind of stuff and have that visual of what it looks like today, okay? But this is some of the last couple things here is, again, it's integrating systems, okay? Helping you make some of those data-driven automation decisions as well and enhance the user experience. Your team in the field is running around like crazy. It's gonna help make their lives easier, right? Also, sustainability and efficiency initiatives, that's what this is all about too. It's gonna help you make some of those data-driven decisions. But it goes beyond operations. It supports sustainability, cost efficiency, tenant satisfaction, sustainability, as I mentioned, cost efficiency, getting some of those ROIs out of your team too, okay? But also tenant satisfaction or student satisfaction or faculty satisfaction. You're gonna get more of those positive feedback remarks from them. So anyway, thank you so much. I'm actually gonna be in booth 152. If you have any questions, I'd love to hear what you guys are doing as well. Thank you.